I could run through the list here. Tonight, I think, is the Under Armour game in Orlando, and they've got Mylan Graham is going to play in that game, the wide receiver from Indiana. Aaron Scott, the cornerback from Springfield. Let's see here. Jeremiah McClellan, wide receiver, although he did not end up signing with Ohio State, did he, as it turned out. But you can see what you would have had with him. And then Bryce West, the cornerback from Cleveland Glenville. They're all in the game tonight, West, Scott, and Graham. And it could be a possibility, depending how they split the teams up, that maybe, although they're all from the Midwest, they're probably all on the same team. Then Saturday is the All-American Bowl in San Antonio, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the All-American Bowl. Jeremiah Smith, the number 1 player in the country, the wide receiver. Edric Houston. Of course, Smith and Houston both signed with Ohio State on signing day. There was some debate that they could end up elsewhere, but both of them stayed with their commitments to Ohio State. And Chris Hummer from our 24/7 editorial staff did an interview with Jeremiah Smith, and it's on 247sports.com, was on our site. And Jeremiah Smith talked about how it was a feeding frenzy with Miami and Florida State to try and get him, particularly when he didn't send his letter of intent in right away. That meant he was still open for business, and I mean business. They were coming at him with NIL offers. He even names the names of the people he talked to, and in some vague terms talks about some of the money offers that were made to get him to switch from Ohio State to Miami. So make no bones about it. It's, pay-to-play inducements is where NIL is at right now. Aaron Nolan, the quarterback from Georgia, is also in the game on Saturday. James Peoples from San Antonio will be playing in his hometown there. Garrett Stover from Big Walnut here, a defensive back. He'll be playing there. Ian Moore, a lineman, and Peyton Pierce, a linebacker from Texas. Those 7 guys all going to be from Ohio State in that All-American Bowl on Saturday. So that's the update. 10 guys playing in the 2 main All-Star game, with 3 of them tonight, I presume, on one of the ESPN networks.
Do you or somebody else get the assignment to check those games out?
Well, I've got Ohio State basketball tonight, so I'll probably DVR the Orlando game if it is tonight, and go from there. But I've never really sat down myself and watched them, just because I think it's hard to glean a whole lot from an all-star game, because you don't know you figure everybody that are in these 2 games are national top 200 type players. So you get a little bit of stuff out of it, but again, these are teams that are just thrown together at the last minute, and they've had 4 practices together. How good can the football really be? I don't know, but certainly you can show some individual traits and different things in these games. So keep an eye on them, I think. And I know our fans, the message boards will be lighting up if one of the Ohio State guys can make a play. If Mylan Green catches a touchdown in this game, you'll hear about it. Demarion Witten already played in one of these All-Star Bowls and had 3 touchdown catches. The tight end wide receiver from Cleveland Glenville. He played in what used to be the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. U.S. Army now does their own bowl with another set of players, and Demarion Witten played in that game and had 3 touchdown catches, so that was good. So, if you're doing an all-star team, it's like 14 Michigan and 8 Ohio State, and this is the first time in decades we can say that they've kind of flipped it on Ohio State in terms of the quality and the quantity of their personnel.
And not to give Ohio State a pass, because I'm not, because the standard is to play for national championships. But this is the first time in forever, since before we started watching, Steve, that one of these programs has surpassed the other, where Ohio State, you can make an argument that the program has slumped slightly, but it's been ever so slightly. They're still winning 11 games every year. Every time one of these 2 programs have surpassed the other, it's because somebody's dropped. Somebody's become an 8-4 kind of team year after year after year for a period of time. And the other one just either stayed where they were or elevated. But for Michigan to have caught Ohio State and now surpassed Ohio State, while Ohio State has stayed I don't care what the rankings say at the end of the year, they're one of the top 5 roughly teams in the country. For Michigan to have accomplished that with everything that you just outlined with lesser recruiting classes, then there's a coaching and development and scheme issue somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, the recruiting tells you that they've recruited outstanding players, but in this transient era with the transfer portal and NIL inducements, like, I think Noah Rogers was a national top 50 wide receiver this past year, the 2023 class. And now he's going on, it seems, to NC State, I guess. And people, made on that perhaps he was lured to go there, whatever. And again, retaining and developing these high-end recruits, it's a difficult task. I mean, everybody wants to play as a freshman and expects to play as a freshman and demands, payment like they're frontline players, even though they haven't accomplished anything yet. So I guess just you got to be able to adapt and overcome. And Ohio State's adapt and overcome game did not look real good this year. That's for sure.
And we'll get to Yakov's super chat here in just a second, but I find it amusing. And fans are fans, so they're allowed to be biased and allowed to want to throw their coach's head on a silver platter one year and then the next year proclaim him as the greatest of all time. But my goodness, I pointed out the other day during all of this Michigan glory that I was actually here being the measured one against all the Michigan, not all the Michigan fans, of course. There's a variety of Michigan fans, just like any other fan base. You've got your knowledgeable, you got your delusional, you got your over optimistic and super pessimistic. You run the gamut. But I became a Jim Harbaugh apologist 3 years ago because this channel was inundated, not with other fans, but with Michigan fans that wanted Jim Harbaugh gone. Now, again, I'm not going to blame any Michigan fan for reversing on their decision on his ability as a coach, but it just kind of goes to show you that, wow, things have changed considerably in 3 years because, again, I typically take the measured approach. So I wanted to see a little bit more decline before I was going to be calling Michigan a has-been program. But after racking up basically 9-3 seasons, one after another, they had that 2-4 run in 2020, and things just weren't looking too favorably at that point. And their head coach was looking to move on to the NFL, and they were cutting his salary in half. And they have turned on a dime.
No doubt. Going to be a fun game. I just think Michigan's defense is probably going to be the difference in this game. And again, but man, Penix, I don't know. I don't know
Either.
I don't know.
I've got a definite lean in this one, but I'm not going to give it away because I'll make a pick on it, of course. But I've got a definite lean. But yeah, and that's about as well as you can throw a football. But that's not like the game of his life. He can do that. He can replicate that. He's that good. That reminded me of Stroud in the Rose Bowl. That was one of those kind of games where he's just, making these ridiculous.
Playing in the backyard.
Guys are doing this like 50 yards downfield. Just put
like in the backyard, you'd play those 80 to 73 games in the backyard. That was what it was.
Yakov says Michigan fans and alumni best known for their humility.
Well, they deserve the chance to chirp today. That's for sure. Yeah. And, I go back growing up had a buddy who was a big Bengals fan, and they broke through and they got to the Super Bowl there. What was it, 1988 with Boomer Esiason, and his line was, "It's my time to shine." He was tired of listening to all the Browns and Steelers fans in the area giving him crap because the Bengals were always third wheel in that division. But he said, "It's my time to shine." So for Michigan people, this is their time to shine. I say, enjoy it today, and we'll see what comes down the pike for you from Indianapolis in the calendar year of 2024.